The next sutta is 44.7. Then the wanderer Abyakata approached the Venerable Mahamoggallana and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to the Venerable Mahamoggallana, "How is it, Master Moggallana? Is the world eternal?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this, the world is eternal." "Then, Master Moggallana, the world is not eternal." "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the world is not eternal." "How is it then, Master Moggallana? Is the world finite?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this, the world is finite." "Then, Master Moggallana, is the world infinite?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the world is infinite." "How is it then, Master Moggallana? Are the soul and the body the same?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this, the soul and the body are the same." "Then, Master Moggallana, is the soul one thing, the body another?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the soul is one thing, the body is another." "How is it, Master Moggallana? Does the Tathagata exist after death?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this, the Tathagata exists after death." "Then, Master Moggallana, does the Tathagata not exist after death?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the Tathagata does not exist after death." "How is it then, Master Moggallana? Does the Tathagata both exist and not exist after death?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the Tathagata both exists and does not exist after death." "Then, Master Moggallana, does the Tathagata neither exist nor not exist after death?" "Vacha, the Blessed One has not declared this either, the Tathagata neither exists nor does not exist after death." Stop here for a moment. So you see, ordinary worldlings, unlearned ordinary worldlings, they have a lot of views. These are the type of views that was very popular during the Buddha's days. All this type of speculation about the world, all because of the identity, the ego, the conceit. Once you have the view of a self, then you ask all these questions about the world and about yourself. And then he asks, "What, Master Moggallana, is the cause and reason when wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers as the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, or the world is finite, or the world is infinite, or the soul and the body are the same, or the soul is one thing, the body is another, or the Tathagata exists after death, or the Tathagata does not exist after death, or the Tathagata both exists and does not exist after death, or the Tathagata neither exists nor does not exist after death. And what is the cause and reason why the ascetic Gautama is asked such questions? He does not give such answers." And Venerable Moggallana said, "Vacha, wanderers of other sects regard the I thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Similarly, they regard the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Therefore, when the wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers as the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, etc., etc. But Vacha, the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha, regards the I thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Similarly, he regards the ear, nose, tongue, body and mind thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Therefore, when the Tathagata is asked such questions, he does not give such answers. Then the wanderer Abyakata rose from his seat and approached the Blessed One. He exchanged greetings with the Blessed One and said to him, "How is it, good Gautama, is the world eternal?" And he asked all the same questions as before. And the Buddha said, "Vacha, I have not declared this either. The Tathagata neither exists nor does not exist after death." And Vacha asked, "What, Master Gautama, is the cause and reason why, when wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers as the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, etc. And what is the cause and reason why, when the ascetic Gautama is asked such questions, he does not give such answers?" And the Buddha said, "Vacha, wanderers of other sects regard the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body and the mind thus, this is mine, this I am, this is myself. Therefore, when the wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers as the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, the world is finite, the world is infinite, etc. But Vacha, the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha, regards the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Therefore, when the Tathagata is asked such questions, he does not give such answers. And he said, it is wonderful, Master Gotama, it is amazing, Master Gotama, how the meaning and phrasing of both teacher and disciple coincide and agree with each other and do not diverge, that is, in regard to the chief matter. Just now, Master Gotama, I approached the ascetic Moggallana and asked him about this matter. The ascetic Moggallana explained this matter to me in exactly the same terms and phrases that Master Gotama used. It is wonderful, Master Gotama, it is amazing, Master Gotama, how the meaning and phrasing of both teacher and disciple coincide and agree with each other and do not diverge, that is, in regard to the chief matter. That's the end of the sutta. So this is another sutta where the Buddha answers exactly the same as his disciple. So the Buddha said that the Buddha does not have all these views because the Buddha does not regard the five aggregates or the six sense bases as the self or as belonging to the self. So that is why, because he does not have the view of a self, that's why he does not have views about the world. The next sutta is 44.8. Then the wanderer Vachagota approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said, how is it, Master Gotama? Is the world eternal? Is the world not eternal? Etc. And the Buddha said, he has not declared all these. What, Master Gotama, is the cause and reason why, when wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers as the world is eternal, the world is not eternal, the world is finite, the world is not finite, is infinite, etc. And what is the cause and reason why Master Gotama is asked such questions, he does not give such answers? And the Buddha said, Vacha, wanderers of other sects regard the body as the self, or self as possessing body, or body as in the self, or self as in the body. Similarly, they regard feeling, perception, volition, consciousness as the self, or as belonging to the self, or in the self, or the aggregates as in the self, or the self as in the aggregates. Therefore, when the wanderers of other sects are asked such questions, they give such answers. But the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha does not regard the body, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness as the self or as belonging to the self, etc. Therefore, when the Tathagata is asked such questions, he does not give such answers. Then the wanderer Vachagota rose from his seat and approached the Venerable Moggallana, and he asked the same questions. And Venerable Moggallana gave exactly the same answers. So, you see, because the Venerable Moggallana also has psychic power like the Buddha, so he could also read this wondrous mind. So he quoted exactly what the Buddha said. These two suttas seems to be very similar. One is regarding the six sense bases, the other one is regarding the five aggregates. 44.9. Then the wanderer Vachagota approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat to one side and said to the Blessed One, in recent days, Master Gotama, a number of ascetics, brahmanas and wanderers of various sects had assembled in the debating hall and were sitting together when this conversation arose among them. This Purana Kassapa, the leader of an order, the leader of a group, the teacher of a group, the well-known and famous spiritual guide, considered holy by many people, declares the rebirth of a disciple who has passed away and died thus. That one was reborn there. That one was reborn there. In the case of a disciple who was a person of the highest kind, a supreme person, one who had attained the supreme attainment, when that disciple had passed away and died, he also declares his rebirth thus: that one was reborn there, that one was reborn there. Similarly, this Makali Gosala, Niganta Nataputta, Sanjaya Belati Putta, Akuda Kachayana, Ajita Kesa Kambali. When the disciple had passed away and died, they declared their rebirth thus: that one was reborn there, that one was reborn there. This ascetic Gautama, the leader of an order, the leader of a group, the teacher of a group, the well-known and famous spiritual guide, considered holy by many people, declares the rebirth of a disciple who has passed away and died thus: that one was reborn there, that one was reborn there. But in the case of a disciple who was a person of the highest kind, a supreme person, one who had attained the supreme attainment, when that disciple had passed away and died, he does not declare his rebirth thus: that one was reborn there. Rather, he declares of him, he cut off craving, severed the fetters, and by completely breaking through conceit, he has made an end to suffering. There was perplexity in me, Master Gautama, there was doubt. How is the Dhamma of the ascetic Gautama to be understood? And the Buddha said, it is fitting for you to be perplexed, Vacha. It is fitting for you to doubt. Doubt has arisen in you about a perplexing matter. I declare, Vacha, rebirth for one with fuel, not for one without fuel. Just as a fire burns with fuel, but not without fuel, so Vacha, I declare rebirth for one with fuel, not for one without fuel. Stop here for a moment. So, unlike the other famous teachers in India at that time, the Buddha said that his highest disciples, after they pass away, they do not take rebirth because they are arahants. They have stopped the round of rebirths. So this Vacha did not understand and asked why. The Buddha says that rebirth occurs because of fuel, just as a fire burns because of fuel. In some other suttas, the Buddha says the fuel for rebirth is greed, hatred and delusion. When you have greed, hatred and delusion, that is the cause for rebirth. And then he asked the Buddha, Master Gautama, when a flame is flung by the wind and goes some distance, what does Master Gautama declare to be its fuel on that occasion? And the Buddha said, Vacha, when a flame is flung by the wind and goes some distance, I declare that it is fueled by the wind, for on that occasion, the wind is its fuel. And Master Gautama, when a being has laid down this body, but has not yet been reborn in another body, what does Master Gautama declare to be its fuel on that occasion? Vacha, when a being has laid down this body, but has not yet been reborn in another body, I declare that it is fueled by craving. On that occasion, craving is its fuel. That is the end of the sutta. It's a very interesting sutta because of this last part. This last part, he asked the Buddha that when a being has died, but has not yet been reborn into another body. In other words, he's saying that there is what we call an intermediate body. This being has died, but has not entered the womb yet. So he's asking, why does that being still survive? What is the fuel for the being to survive? And the Buddha says it is craving, craving for rebirth, craving for existence. So that is why it exists. So it is suttas like this that makes us see that is what we call an intermediate body. And there's another sutta also where the Buddha says that for being to be born into the womb, it has to wait its time. And it has to wait for certain conditions before it can enter the womb. And what are these conditions? The mother and the father must come together. And then the mother must be in the right season. Third condition is this being must be there waiting. And in that sutta, I think it's in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta, the Buddha calls that being the Gandhabba. The Gandhabba. Yeah. So this intermediate body seems like the later traditional Buddhism, they did not accept it, especially like Abhidharma. Because if they use Abhidharma, they cannot explain. So they don't accept this. But in the suttas, we see that this is part of the Buddha's teachings. The next sutta is 44.10. Then the wanderer Vachagota approached the Blessed One and said to him, "How is it now, Master Gotama? Is there a self?" Attala. When this was said, the Blessed One was silent. Then, Master Gotama, is there no self? The second time, the Blessed One was silent. Then the wanderer Vachagota rose from his seat and departed. Then not long after the wanderer Vachagota had left, the Venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, "Why is it, Venerable Sir, that when the Blessed One was questioned by the wanderer Vachagota, he did not answer?" And the Buddha said, "If Ananda, when I was asked by the wanderer Vachagota, is there a self? If I had answered, there is a self, this would have been siding with those ascetics and brahmanas who are eternalists. And if I was asked by him, is there no self? If I had answered, there is no self, this would have been siding with those ascetics and brahmanas who are annihilationists." Stop here for a moment. The Buddha says that during his time, they had two extreme views. One is that after you die, you will exist forever and ever. This is called the eternalist view. The other extreme view is after you die, there is nothing, absolutely nothing left. This is the view of the annihilationists. So the Buddha says, if he answers there is a self, this would be siding with the eternalists. If there is no self, there will be siding with the annihilationists. If Ananda, when I was asked by the wanderer Vachagota, is there a self? I had answered, there is a self. Would this have been consistent on my part with the arising of knowledge that all phenomena are non-self? No, Venerable Sir. And if when I was asked by him, is there no self? I had answered, there is no self. The wanderer Vachagota, already confused, would have fallen into even greater confusion, thinking, it seems that the self I formerly had does not exist now. That's the end of the sutta. So, the Buddha says in the last part, if he answered, there is a self, this is contradictory to what he understands, that all phenomena, everything in the world is not self or no self. And if he had answered, there is no self, the wanderer Vachagota would be totally confused. That's not, he's not capable of understanding that. So the Buddha never bothered to explain. So it's like just now the two suttas we read earlier, when the Buddha was trying to describe the state of the Tathagata. To one person, he says that the Tathagata is deep, hard to fathom. So because he doesn't want to go into details, the other person would not be able to understand. So he just says the state of the Tathagata is too deep to understand, too deep to fathom. But to his own disciple, when he asks, then the Buddha explained more clearly in terms of the five aggregates. You see? So similarly, this wanderer Vachagota is not capable of understanding, so the Buddha just refused to say anything to him. The last sutta in this chapter 44 is Sutta 44.11. On one occasion, the Venerable Abyakata was dwelling at Nyatika in the brick hall. Then the wanderer Vachagota approached the Venerable Abyakata and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to him, "How is it, Master Kachana? Does the Tathagata exist after death?" And the Venerable said, the Buddha has not declared this. And then does the Tathagata not exist after death? And he says, Buddha has not declared this either. Then does the Tathagata both exist and does not exist after death? Again he says the Buddha has not declared this. Then does the Tathagata neither exist nor does not exist after death? Again he says the Buddha has not declared this. What then, Master Kochana, is the cause and reason why this has not been declared by the Blessed One? And this Venerable Sabya said, Vacha, as to the cause and condition for describing him as consisting of form, or as formless, or as percipient, or as non-percipient, or as neither percipient nor non-percipient, if that cause and condition were to cease completely and totally without remainder, in what way could one describe him as consisting of form, or as formless, or as percipient, or as non-percipient, or as neither percipient nor non-percipient? And then he asked, Vacha asked, how long has it since you went forth, Master Kachana? And Venerable Kachana said, not long, friend, 3 years. And Vachagota said, friend, one who has gotten so much in such a short time has indeed gotten much, not to speak of one who has surpassed this. That's the end of the sutta. So here, the Venerable Sabya Kachana, he says, if the reason for describing the Buddha as consisting of form, okay, we take one by one. Suppose now you say the Buddha has form. So what is has a body? What's the reason or condition for saying that the Buddha has a body? Because the Buddha has got this physical flesh body, right? Now he says, if this condition, namely the flesh body, were to cease and die completely, then in what way can you describe the Buddha as consisting of body? If the body is going to die completely one day, how can you call the Buddha the body, right? And then if you say the Buddha is percipient, that means he's conscious. You say the Buddha is conscious because he has consciousness. But one day the consciousness is going to cease totally. So when the consciousness ceases totally, in what way will you describe the Buddha as having consciousness? So all these conditions by which you can describe a being or the Buddha, etc., all these conditions are impermanent. They are all going to cease totally one day. So you cannot use that to describe the Buddha because when we say a self, atta, we mean something that is permanent, that is unchanging, that will remain forever the same. Then you can identify it as this is myself. But everything is changing, so there's nothing you can identify as the self. So this Venerable Vachagota, he must have renounced for a long time, maybe 20 years or something. When he heard this explanation from this young monk who had only been a monk for 3 years, he was very impressed. He said, wow, in such a short time, 3 years, you have already got so much. Then he was very, very impressed. So that's the end of the sutta. Actually, this explanation by the Venerable Sabya is very good. You go back and think about it. All these conditions that we describe ourselves. You have body, you have feeling, you have perception, you have volition and all that. And all these conditions are impermanent. They're going to cease totally one day. So how can you use it to describe yourself? So this happens to be the last sutta in that book 4. Book 4. So tomorrow we'll go to the last book of the Samyutta Nikaya, book 5. Book 5 is quite interesting, but I'll talk about it tomorrow.